Are you kidding us, Netflix? Seriously, I watch a lot of TV. A lot. We found Sparkle. Whether you were a teenager in 1996 or whether you are a teenager now, everything sucks. This week I'm posting my very first video on things that are bringing sparkle into my life, and this show is going to be in it. But because Netflix sucks, I'm making a case for why Netflix is making a colossal mistake not to renew Everything Sucks, as well as a case for you to watch the one and currently only season of Everything Sucks if you haven't already seen it before Netflix decides to take it down. However, be warned, this video will contain spoilers, and even knowing the spoilers, it will be completely worth your time to watch this show. 3 days ago, Netflix quietly announced they are canceling their original series Everything Sucks after only one season. The 10-episode series takes place in 1996 in a town called Boring, Oregon, and primarily chronicles the life of 15-year-old Luke, his crush, 16-year-old sophomore KateMessner, and their single parents, Sherry and Ken. Ken also happens to be the high school principal. BHS! The series shines as we are introduced to our main characters, along with their individual passions and fears, a tight-knit crew of uber relatable side cast, and a generation gap that could be a character on its own and proves that it's not such a gap after all. The show is a hallmark in addressing topics that both teens and their middle-aged parents need represented, need to see, need to talk about, need to see themselves in. And that is the beauty of Everything Sucks. It understands us in a way that all the other mindless entertainment we watch doesn't seem to. It cannot be reduced down to a show that teenagers need. It is a show that most of us need. My husband and I both deeply appreciate this show. Let's recount a few ways that Everything Sucks, a simple little series, is different than the other things on television. One thing is that as opposed to dangling a will they or won't they romance in front of us that drags on for a season or two or seven, a tired formula employed by dramedy after dramedy. Luke, who is wise beyond his years, very confrontationally admits his feelings for Kate in episode 2.
KateMessner, will you go out with me?
As to where other shows will have main characters harboring deep secrets for episode after episode after episode, slowly, quietly killing the soul of another main character, Kate admits that she thinks she's a lesbian in episode 3. By the way, this is the first time Kate has said that to anyone. And here's a huge one, where teen dramedies use the adults in the storyline purely as punching bags. The adult plot lines are either completely non-existent or purely there to drive the teenagers' plots because the adult is a buzzkill. They're overbearing, they're controlling, they're manipulative, they're absentee. Everything Sucks treats the adults like human beings in their own rights. Ken and Sherry have their own lives, completely outside of being a dad or a mom, completely outside of being authoritarian. We people around 40 and over are represented as dreamers and lovers and risk takers and adventurers and people who still have interest and passions and laugh and fun. We adults are also portrayed as people who deeply remember and connect with what it's like to be a freshman or sophomore in high school. We remember that mistakes aren't the end of the world, but triumphs in growing up. We aren't scary. We're not that far different from teenagers ourselves. Also, in an entertainment world where everything is portrayed as earth-shaking, where every problem is the worst problem ever, and every heartbreak is the greatest tragedy ever experienced. Everything Sucks treats life's dramas like, well, life. Without sensationalism. Problems arise, and the characters confront them. Feelings emerge, and the characters share them. The show has two things that all the sensationalist dramas and dramedies are missing: heart and perspective. Perspective that life is life, and that we aren't defined by the tragedy that has befallen us. Luke's dad abandoned him and his mom when Luke was incredibly young. Luke also has now fallen in love with a lesbian and kind of made a fool of himself about it. Luke also is a giant nerd. Guess what? He's also creative and brilliant. He's passionate about video production. He has an awesome relationship with his mother. He has two amazing friends, and he is an awesome leader. He's bold, daring, and he is wise beyond his years. Now let's talk about IAmKateMessner for a moment. Kate's mom, Ken's wife, she killed herself years ago, defining Ken and Kate's relationship as a palpable desperation not to be defined by the sadness that suicide leaves on a family. Kate, like many 16-year-olds, is also struggling to be herself, including being a lesbian in the 90s when there was no tolerance for dykes. She's also relaxed and an incredibly devoted friend, an amazing piano player. She's gifted and talented. She has an authentic ability to sense people's emotions and to just feel empathy. She's a passionate music fan. Ken is a dad, a principal, and a widower. And for a lot of shows, that'd be the end of his story. But he's also a really loving and empathetic dad. You see where Kate gets all her goodness from. And he's quite the prankster and goofball. And he's a deep romantic. These characters are real people, defined by the parts of who they are and their hearts. They aren't defined by the tragedy or the label given to them by the world. Here's the thing. Everything Sucks is a great, well-rounded show. And honestly, the one season we have could stand alone. It's a slice of life, and they did a great job doing that. And if we don't get anything else, then it's been a pleasure to know you, boring high school students and family. But the thing is, the show has so much more to give. Here's the thing about Netflix. They have shoved in our faces and down our throat for years now numerous shows. In particular, some terrible ones, including Love, which has a couple 3 seasons now and is incredibly boring, as well as shoving like crazy tragedies in our face, like 13 Reasons Why. Then there was Sense8, which is another show that had suicide and supernatural seizure-inducing effects in the show. And then there was Friends from College, which is just a bunch of really sad middle-aged people with a lot of just really desperate baggage, banging each other and screwing each other over, cheating on their spouses, and basically just being a miserable mess. These shows were shoved down our throats. Thank you, Netflix. You did a great job promoting your crappiest shows. Everything Sucks. You didn't promote that. You didn't push that. You didn't try to get that. Did you only think that like 15-year-olds would want to watch? I don't understand why you didn't promote that. You didn't present that to us. My husband found that show. We found that show. We realized the magic of Everything Sucks. And now you're canceling it. This show is real in all of the best, most magical ways. It's not campy and ridiculous like Fuller House is. And yes, I watch Fuller House, so I'm not knocking that, but at the same time, there's a very limited appeal for Fuller House. Also, not all of us want to go to sleep and have nightmares and put our pants all night because of your like crazy, this is the end of the world and we all are just miserable and going to kill ourselves type of shows. Everything Sucks has a magic that so many people can relate to. The hashtag IAmKateMessner has been going viral the last few days. I relate more to Emmeline. She's a character who has lived for too long in a portrayal of a character that she felt the world expected. I guarantee you my husband didn't relate to Kate Messner, nor Emmeline. My husband saw himself in maybe Luke. Heck, maybe my husband saw himself in Ken. That would actually make a ton of sense. My action movie, Daredevil loving, Peaky Blinders watching husband liked Everything Sucks. This is about being hungry for belonging and family and community and knowing that being yourself is the best freedom. This is a show that parents and their kids can see themselves in. And if we had children, this is a show I would be watching with my kids that are 10 years old and over. The heart and perspective is worth Netflix's investment. I've never felt this heartbroken about the possibility of a show not being renewed. So here's my call to action. If you haven't watched the show, it's a 10-episode series with an investment of 20 to 30 minutes per episode. And if you have watched it, I urge you to tweet, Instagram, Facebook, hashtag Renew Everything Sucks, and hashtag IAmKateMessner. Even if the show goes down because Netflix sucks, let the cast and crew know that this show has impacted you. And seriously, Everything Sucks. Ken, Kate, Luke, Sherry, boring high school, boring Oregon. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. This hopefully will be the only time I feel the need to make an entire episode of my channel about a show and giving a synopsis of it and a call to action. But this show is Sparkle. And I will be getting back to you later this week with other things, bringing my life sparkle and making midlife magical. God bless you all. Whoever you are, whether you're a Kate or an Emmeline or a Luke or a Ken or a Sherry or a McQuaid, whoever you are, God loves you. Exactly as you are, who you are. He made you that way. He made you who you are. And I love you too.